It looks like I'm live. And here comes this little girl. That is not tonight. You want to go to bed right this minute? Then go leave me alone. I'm working. And that's how you deal with impetuous children. It is her bedtime. I'm not just being mean. Well, maybe a little. But it's her bedtime, so I'm allowed this once to be mean. All right, so y'all are here while I'm setting it up. I'm getting everything going. This week is going to be a crazy conversation. There's a lot going on. I was informed by my co-hosts at this point. I guess that's where we're at because we're doing this every week, twice a week, live on every Sunday, 9 p.m. for you guys here at the think tank. He said, well, I don't really say what I'm thinking because he's afraid that he doesn't want to ruin our friendship on the air. And I said, what? Hold on. So you ain't here holding back? So it's not only holding back on me in a think tank where his opinion might sway my opinion because he's afraid he'll hurt my feelings and be an oversensitive Gemini, birthday tomorrow, turn the big 5-0. But I cut my plan short today and came home to be here for you because we're going to celebrate together. And while we're doing that, we're going to continue to work and figure out what the heck is going on in this country because the proverbial manure has hit said fan and it's sloshing and getting everywhere. I got manure in my hair. I didn't get it at Six Flags today either. Anyhow, got a little rain in my hair. It was drizzling, but I'm like, I'm gonna go. I took my daughter, my 8-year-old. We had a blast. We had a laugh. She got tired. She's afraid of roller coasters now. I wasn't ready for that last year. She can handle them. This year, she's like, oh, my stomach, I feel queasy. It's cool. It's cool. So, meanwhile, I'm still setting up here. I'm not just running my jibs. I'm giving a chance for everybody to come in. And give me one moment. Uh, Said team members on our platform here where we're trying to do all this magnificent stuff for you. I'm going to make it pop for you guys. We're going to have a magnificent conversation because with everything going on, we need to talk. Can't believe this dude said to me, he's holding back on me. Like, I'm offended. First of all, I think I can hold my own. I'm not overly sensitive. Secondly, and far more importantly, you wildin'. Like, with the stuff that's going on right now, we need to have real conversations. This big, bad bill is going to crush people. It's a terrible bill. And if you have other information that might make me not say that, then please share that information. Because the public needs to know. If people are listening, they're tuning in because they want to hear what's happening. Y'all are not tuning in here to hear fluff or somebody hold back on how bad this bill is. Y'all are tuning in because y'all need to hear what's happening and you want to hear both sides of it. You don't want to hear the watered down stuff that's going through. Y'all want to hear the real deal. Put them dukes up. Let's get it on. Let's talk about what's really happening. Cause that's what it is. I mean, that's why I would tune in. Ava, you do not have time for all that. You're going to bed in 10 minutes. You don't have time to even get that started. Stop. My 8-year old trying to press it. Look at this. Single parenthood, ladies and gentlemen. It is not for the weak of heart. I'm going to stop in about 5 minutes. I'm going to put her behind the bed. Because if I don't, she's going to continue to drive me crazy all night. And she got school tomorrow, more importantly. Arguably more importantly. She had a good day. Instead of going out with my friends, I hung out with my daughter. I hung out with a friend earlier, but, you know, at the end of the day, I spent my time with my little one. We went to the park together. We hung out. We went got something to eat. I'm a father first, and that's it. I'll be doing more. I'll hang out with my people, but I'm a father first, and that's what it is. So back to this immediate, more important, substantial topic at hand: the real deal. Like Trump and Elon going at it. Like I thought they was gonna come to blows. Oh wait, that's how he got the mouse on his eye. I should say that for the episode, right? Wow. Trump, like I didn't even notice, but I saw a little red around the knuckles, around the knuckle area, right? I didn't even see it. Yo, you got that big shiner on your eye. You ain't see that? That's what I say after I give my man a mouse. Like, yo, come out your face again. Camera's on. Hey, what's up, everybody? Yo, what happened to your man? What are you talking about? Nah, we both know 80-year-old Trump. We all know 80-year-old Trump ain't give 50-year-old mouse in the eye. You know what I'm saying? But I bet one of his cabinet members did. It was my son. I didn't even see it. Yeah, those are the stories, right? Let me tell you what happened. Elon was going at it with one of them dudes, probably that dude from what is it, Florida, Ted, whatever his name is. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And they did a little bit of bad blood. He said something. He said, "Yo, I will put a rocket ship fast blow to your nostrils, son. Say something again." And Elon, he's all smart at the mouth. So Elon was like, "I'm the smartest man in the world. You can't touch me. I've studied 20 different styles of martial arts. I watch pow." Y'all ain't tuned in to watch my silliness. Cause I got it. Yo, I can do this forever. I write stories. I'm a writer. And I can make it funny forever. You'll laugh. And I'm only telling half truths. So you know what that means, right? If it's a half truth, the other half is kind of like a fib. I don't know. So here's what it is. Elon got a mouse in his eye from a cabinet member. And that's why after they did the show, horse and pony show for everybody, and it was over business. You know what I'm saying? Elon thought he was running the show. Elon's not running the show. Elon thought he was running the show. And somebody got tired of it and socked him. I mean, like, at the end of the day, these guys got on these suits and ties, but if you got dudes doing all types of drugs on the Resolute desk and whatever the case may be, if these dudes is, you know what I mean? Like, okay, he's not doing it on a Resolute desk, but maybe. But for real, you in the White House all butt sniffing coke off the desk. What do you do? What kind of this massive drugs that now is being exposed that he's continuously on? And he, so if that's going on in there, you think everything else is open? He's the only one? You think everybody else is like, oh my God, he's like this. We don't know what to do. We're just going to pretend like we don't see it. What's really happening is they're like, yo, what is Elon doing? Oh, he's on some craziness. Yo, your nose is bleeding. Oh man, I should not be doing this on my live, trying to keep y'all entertained while I'm waiting to get started. But this is the way my mind works. So now y'all are getting a taste of what's in my head. And if you're tuned out because of it, I understand. But here's the truth of the matter: I'm making light of something stupid serious, and the seriousness is objectively stupid because this should not be happening in our America. This is not should not be happening, but it is. We have the richest man in the world who controls multiple empires, who gained his riches off of our tax dollars, coming and cutting all sorts of programs created to help people who need it, like his companies that wouldn't survive without the government grants that they receive, in everything but a fisticuff if you leave off that raccoon eye he got, because but this is the serious part now. Squaring off against the oldest man in the history of our country to ever step foot in the presidency, who's showing signs of decline, talking about, well, maybe, like, how do you co-sign that the last guy was a robot? Now, I knew when they did that, there were only two things that Trump supporters was going to do, because Trump supporters are not going to be like, oh, well, yeah, there's something wrong here. They're going to say, they're going to normalize it. They're going to say things like, well, he was being facetious, or they really meant the auto pen was the president and that he was dead, as far as, some metaphorical nonsense, not literal. And you're going to have those that are like, we knew it. We knew it. We knew it. There was something wrong. Biden looked different. Yo, did you see the way he froze? That was a robot glitch. You're going to get one or the other. But they're not going to be like, the vast majority of MAGA people are not going to be like, yeah, I admit something's wrong. They ain't admit nothing. Something's wrong. And Elon, I forget the two drugs that he's known for right now. Somewhere we're going to bring it up today. Got to bring it up when you're talking about Elon now. Because the tirade he went on Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter. On X, I don't want to get kicked out because I called the Gulf of Mexico, whatever. The tirade he went on is a drug-induced euphoria or manic state. So that's what you were looking at. You were looking at a drug-induced manic state resulting in a series of barrage of insane tweets, which culminated into support for the impeachment of the man that he was cool with 3 days before, and publicly nothing happened with in between. It was a manic, drug-induced state. Now, the things he said may have been accurate, because drugs don't make you stupid. Well, you're not stupid because you're on drugs. And a manic state, people might point out things that are really happening and then put all that manic stuff into it. Like, you'll see something and be like, all right, that's crazy. Why is there a dog surrounded by cats? I don't know, something random, right? But in a manic state, oh, you gotta see, there's mad cats surrounding this dog. It's insane. You gotta, like, the drugs will create a manic induced state where something will be blown out of proportion. But because something was blown out of proportion, it does not mean that the thing that they're talking about isn't real. And in this particular case, we're talking about the big bad bill. The big bad bill is definitively as bad as Elon Musk was stating, in gargantuous, monumental fashion. This bill, I mean, they're saying the numbers over and over, and people are becoming desensitized to how terrible this bill is. However, what they're saying about this bill is tens of millions of people are going to lose health coverage. Tens of thousands of people will die annually. Let me say this differently. Over 10,000 people are going to die a year. Closer to 50,000 people will die a year. So let me break that down differently. over 10,000 people will die a month. Hold up. You know what? 300, 5,000 people will die a month. No, that's 10. Yeah, 5,000 people will die. See, I have to do the math. One, two. I got to count on my elbows and my toes. Over 5,000 people will die a month because they're too sick and can't get a doctor because their health care was taken away. 5,000 people a month. And that's not talking about the almost 10,000 they're talking about taking off, that they're going to remove the nutritional system from, where now they're not going to be able to afford to eat. So you're going to have kids starving like this is Gaza, where they refuse to let the food into the kids. It's going to be like that. Kids are going to starve of malnutrition, which is probably the most horrible way to die. Starving to death. That's what they're talking about. Starving kids to death. And where's this money going to go? This is what they keep saying over and over. Well, we're going to elongate the tax cuts the rich get. Yeah, we'll give you cuts to tax on overtime and tax on tips. We'll give you that. Those tax cuts last until the next election cycle. But the reason that this country will go so far into debt and they have to take away health care from tens of millions of people is because, oh, my daughter was talking again. The reason they're taking away the tens is because they can't afford to keep these tax breaks on for the billionaires unless they take away the money from somewhere. The money got to come from somewhere. Where's the money going to come from? It don't grow on trees. So if the money don't come on trees, where's it coming from? Here's where it's coming from. Well, let's take away a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there. Yeah, there's a lot of fraud. That's what it is. We're taking away the money because of the fraud. So then where's the money going to go once you take it away? Oh, well, the system will be better. Where's the money going? What the bill says the money is doing is giving tax breaks to mad rich people. So you're gonna have mad hungry people that can't afford to see a doctor, that won't get health coverage, citizens that pay their taxes in this country, and that money's gonna go so that the rich who can afford to do anything in the world they want get more money. What are they gonna do with it? They sure as heck ain't gonna trickle it down. Trickle down economics was a joke. It's not trickling down. What's gonna happen to it? I'll give you a hint. If you want to know what's going to happen to it, take a look at the bill. The bill says the rich are going to get more tax incentives. In English, that means that they're going to be able to write stuff off and keep more money in their pockets instead of paying their fair share. Why is it that billionaires pay less money than people that make $20 an hour? How that makes sense? Make that make sense to me. Make that make sense. Rich people, a billionaire pays less taxes than somebody making $20 an hour. And in order to keep it that way, tens of millions of people are not going to be able to feed their kids and go to the doctor. Make that make sense to me. Please, somebody come in and say, well, if you look at it this way, because with all these tax breaks, our pay wages didn't go up, so the money's not trickling down. They ain't paying us. They're buying new, whatever they buying, more houses, another boat, as they like to say, another golden airplane or whatever. The money they outright stealing from us, our tax dollars. That's what's happening. Now that I've broken that, let me go put this kid to bed. I'll be back. We're going to get started in a few minutes. I got to go put the kid to bed. I just went on a rant. You can have a few minutes to talk to these guys and let them know we are live. I got to put her to bed so we can get started. I'll be right back. You probably was hearing my rant. Had to keep it busy. I'll be right back. Yeah. All right, kid. It's bedtime.
Uh-oh.
Now, let's go. Now, let's go.
Da, da, da.
This
This guy.
Five. Gotta put her to bed so we can get started. I'll be right back. You probably hearing my.
Da, da, da.
I was hoping you'd be keeping everybody company while I was gone. You just sitting there bored.
I was waiting for you. I didn't know when you were gonna poof back into the story. So yes, I was watching your monologue before I came in, and
Hold on, before we get started, real quick, before you get started. Welcome to the think tank, everybody, where we use critical thinking, deductive reasoning, and pitch common sense to draw unbiased logical conclusions. I was given a monologue that was very biased based on the facts that I have so far, but the Honorable Dion Powell is going to introduce himself, and then we're going to get started. It's going to bring you the other side of the argument, and we're going to talk about some of the things going on, and you're going to get a more balanced perspective because he's here, and that's why he joins us. Dion, on you.
my friends, why are we arguing? Thank you, Leo. I'm not sure if you read this, but this is one of those NAACP gimmick t-shirts. I let my mind relax because I'm done with those guys because some internal politicking and politicking. But yes, I'm District Leader Dion Powell here in the Bronx, New York. I'm here to maybe some could argue be a Trump apologist. However, I'm just trying to put certain facts above the feelings. Like Leo said in the monologue, he's like, no, I should go harder, but I don't want to because in normal life, people take this Trump stuff seriously, especially with these people getting deported left and right. The feelings are so emotionally high that they may have to burn California to the ground again. But this time, Mayor Karen from LA, there's no saving it from her. She's probably gonna meet me in Ghana. Back to you, Leo.
I don't even know what that means.
Remember the wildfires were burning down California?
Oh,
The
can't forget
black
that.
mayor of LA was where? In Ghana. They called her, ran up on her at the airport back to Cali, and they said, hey, Mayor Karen, how do you feel about these wildfires? And she was just like, and then she dipped. You're not saying anything. So that's the kind of mismanagement locally that they try to make you know that Donald Trump is the reason for all your life's problems.
Well, we got quite a few viewers today, and we want to give them a show, so they're here to watch. Please don't hold back. If anybody wants to talk, we are responding in the chat. I'm sorry about the monologue I ran on. We're not supposed to start till 9. I didn't realize Leon was here. I would have admitted him
Oh,
earlier,
it's here
but
since 8:30, just to be on the safe side. And then I looked at my phone and the notification went off. I was like, what is this guy doing by himself? Maybe he's trying to push me out of the picture. We're telling so much truth about Trump.
well, really, the truth of the matter is, I have somebody helping to work, doing some work for us on the back end, and I have to be on a half hour before. If you want to come on a half hour before with me every Sunday, that's great. But I have to be on a half hour before. We got a lot of people coming in to hear what we're talking about, and they really want to hear what's going on. So let's not pull no punches. I don't want to be like Elon. I don't want you to give me a mouse, but
Happy birthday, Leo. It's Leo's birthday. Yeah.
thank you, appreciate it. Yours is in 3 days.
Yes, June babies, Gemini, Two Face, Batman.
Go see both
Let's see if they
sides of
can
it
see my
tonight.
emojis.
All right, let's get it. All
Emoji,
right,
emoji.
let's start with the fact that you heard the monologue, so you heard my theory on why Elon got the black eye, and Trump's like, I don't see nothing, and he's like, my 5 year old did it. What is your? We talked about this last time, but based on how Elon erupted as soon as that meeting was over, has your feelings changed on perhaps how that black eye ensued?
That's the least of our worries. But no,
Indeed.
my position still remains the same. The man said his son played fighting, punched him in his face. or hit him with a toy truck. Anything's possible with parenting, right, Leo?
Sure, he probably fell on the banister and hit his head on the stairs, right?
So you
Heard
say
that one a
you
thousand
said
times.
neither you so you say neither one of your daughters when they were younger slapped you in the face out of nowhere. Woo.
And gave me a black eye. That is not normal child behavior. Maybe the kid got into his stash. Anyway, so
Or maybe these are white kids with white parents, but they totally disrespect them, unlike the black family.
I've seen complete disrespect, but a 5-year-old hitting a no, mm-mm, no. I mean, maybe Elon deserved it. Well, let's see. Does Elon deserve it? We see what happened between Elon and Trump. Why are they fighting? Hold on, wait. So Dion might not have mentioned he's a conservative MAGA person. He wasn't always MAGA. He jumped on the bandwagon second term. He saw some things that he liked. He's on hard, which is good because we need a MAGA perspective. Why as a representative of as a elected as an official in the MAGA community do you believe that Trump is fighting Elon? Or
Well,
Elon is attacking Trump
I
rather.
didn't jump on any wagon as opposed to jump out of heaven in paradise called the Democratic Party. And slowly but surely got into the MAGA train. Because before I was just Trump was being Trump, because Trump's birthday is coming up as well as a fellow Gemini. So I've always admired the man. Now, what do I think is going on? I think this is a long time coming, and the media is so happy. Everybody's praying for Donald Trump. Elon must have a big blow up so they can say, "Ooh, I told you so." And now here we are. Everybody's happy there infighting allegedly. But if you think about it,
Allegedly.
Elon Musk has been unhappy with the big, beautiful bill on the side of Congress. Elon Musk doesn't like the bureaucracy of Congress. Excuse me, that's New York in the background. Meaning the Senate and Congress. It's something called rhinos. So remember, the whole time, the mainstream legacy media would have you believe that something so simple as Trump wants to cut Medicaid, when the man has consistently said that he didn't want to do that. So then when Congress does stuff like cut Medicaid, the world is blaming Trump, whereas Elon is blaming Congress. So the wedge is always there, and the media keeps trying to wedge. Now that the wedge is broken and they're going out in the public eye, allegedly, everybody's just running with it. And that's what I think. Elon was more mad at Congress and threatened to run people for office and primary people, put money in certain hands. So there you go.
Okay, so we're going to step aside from the fact that Trump has pushed this bill when even the Republicans are like they didn't want the bill because cutting Medicaid will hurt their constituents, and Trump pushed the bill anyway. We're going to leave that alone.
Well, we're going to educate our viewers and say, hey, please go to house.gov or go to senate.gov and look at the big, beautiful bill come before the Senate and see what they do. Because those are the facts. Everything else is just speculation, conjecture. But the fact remains the big, beautiful bill, as it's called, is now gone from the House to the Senate. Pure facts, straight and simple.
And we've read some of that big bad bill on this episode, on a previous episode, and those cuts are there, and Trump pushed them. And Elon not only is after the Congress, but he is also called for the impeachment of Donald T. Trump. So, what is your perspective on the fact that he's actually so upset about this bill and how Trump is pushing it? He called for impeachment about this bill.
But see, that's how you could probably think, based on history, maybe they're both trolling America again and playing the media as always. But yes, so far people have called for Trump's impeachment before he.
Elon has called for Trump's impeachment.
So what? That's three people now. The guy from Michigan, Al Green, and also Elon. So you got three people
No,
calling for
actually,
impeachment.
there's a few more now as of today. I'm not going to get into all of that. We're talking about the Elon situation.
So that's your
Elon
fourth
feels that this
vote.
bill is so bad that Trump should be impeached.
Okay, well, good
Do
luck.
you want to walk around that or directly answer it?
What's the question?
How do you come to terms with that as far as a MAGA supporter?
That's fine because they keep screaming impeachment. Even before the man was elected, they were planning to impeach this guy. So Elon's doing the same thing. But again, my answer again is I think that he's playing the media and the general public and trolling because we all know they yell and spew impeachment. This man's been impeached two times already. He doesn't care. The next thing is we all know they don't have the numbers. And like you said on previous episodes, it's not going anywhere. That's why they're not doing it seriously on paper. And just like reparations, if they try to get serious and put it on paper, the people that are screaming reparations and screaming impeachment will say, hey, pump the brakes. So that's the hypocrisy as I see it.
Well, the person that now there are serious people doing it. Al Green actually did articles of impeachment. He didn't put everything into it. He left enough just to have it on the table. Trump being called for impeachment being called for Trump via Elon Musk is a different situation. This is a
Okay.
man that has power over some Congress people. Congressmen may back Elon. Do you see that as an impossibility? Do you think that, I mean, because now that's what it is. It's a Trump Elon split. And do you think that there are going to be MAGA people that follow? Obviously, from what I've seen to be truthful, it's kind of like Elon screaming is pissing in the wind, if you would. He's screaming into the wind. He's not having the effect on Congress that he was hoping to have, even though he made some very valid statements like, he's going to be there for 4 years. I'm going to be around for 40. It doesn't seem that Senate is budging based off of Elon. Do you think that they're going to be afraid of him primarying them? For those that don't know what primarying is, the midterm elections come up next year. So every 4 years is an election, and every 2 years in between there's an election for some representatives. And the primary somebody is to bring somebody in to go against the person sitting. And when they're talking about primarying people, they're talking about putting money behind somebody to take away the person that's already there. And what that would mean is the person that's there, let's say a particular congressman gets beat out by his own party and loses his job. So the fear of being primaried is the fear of being fired or having somebody put so much money up that you lose your job, that you lose your Congress seat. And they make well over $100,000 a year. That's not counting all the other benefits they get, not talking to the people that come in and like, yeah, well, we need cigarettes to still be legal. Here's a little something for you to vote on the bill, and it's completely legal. They call it lobbying. And we talk about lobbying here all the time. It's legal. They just give money to congressmen to swing their vote. It's crazy. Let's go out to dinner and talk about it. Be the most expensive restaurant you can find. It's crazy. Am I saying anything wrong, by the way, Dion? You're more into the political
That's
realm than
how it
I am.
works in the business realm. So why not politics?
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying that's how it works. I'm just saying that's how it works.
All in the game.
All right. So when they're talking about primary people, they're talking about taking away all of that money from them. So the threat is very real. So I just wanted to explain to people that didn't know what primarying was. So now that we have an understanding of that, and so basically when they're talking about primarying people, they're talking about taking a bread, they're talking about taking a job, they're talking about putting them on an unemployment line. Basically, I'm sure there's things they could do if they came out of Congress to continue to live, but they'll lose lots, copious amounts of money. Do you feel that the threat of, because right now the last thing that happened was Trump retaliating. Trump said, if you support the Democrats, there will be serious consequences. He threatened him, even though he utilized him to threaten Republicans to keep them in line. When it was a threat of him switching to the Democrat side, Trump threatened him. Do you feel that that's legal?
Yes. See, after that long 2 minute question, I can answer it very directly. Yes, it is legal. And if
It's
it's not
legal to tell
legal,
somebody if they support the other party, they're going to pay for it.
yes, they do it all the time. Jasmine Crockett, Congressman, she mouths off all the time with all kinds of threats. That never happens to her. And the rest of the blue team that says, hey, we need to fight and protest. And Mama Maxine's another one guilty of saying all kinds of crazy things to hype and amp people up. Some people could say that maybe this is what's going on the ground on California right now with the peaceful protesters. They have the battery put in their back by the leaders that talk reckless about Uncle Trump, the Republicans, Nazis, fascism, and all those wonderful things. Back to you.
I can't argue with that. That is actually how it works. You're right. I mean, throughout politics and historically, that is what happens. The politicians, when there's a threat of them stepping out of line, the threat to primary them is a direct threat. The Democrats do it. Like it's so yes, it's legal. No, I'm not going to say it's legal because it's not. Legal and allowed are two different things. It's breaking the law. It's outright breaking the law. But I mean, do you give somebody a ticket for jaywalking in New York City? I mean, and that's kind of what it is. It's like, you know, 20 years ago, people got arrested for smoking weed. Just saying. Three
But
strikes for smoking
again,
weed, man, in jail for life.
like I keep saying, the most powerful tool the man has is the ability to create and change the rules. That's why everybody should be a part of the political civic process in some capacity. Because if you're not, you can be easily scared and fooled that they, the powers that be, are using all these magic tricks to control everything when it's just one big mechanism that's fluid. If you're part of it, maybe you can influence the mechanism somehow, some way through money, votes, or collective organizing.
And that is something everyone here should take seriously. He just explained something to you. If you're not a part of the system, then you're just being maneuvered by it. The only way to make a change is from the inside. You got to join and do something. Got to be a part of the system. Thank you for that civic education. Out, not for real, but outside of that. So let's get back into this. Let's get into this. So you believe that Trump is okay making those threats, and I can't argue that. I can't argue it either way. So, do you think Elon is going to back down? This is going to escalate. I noticed he pulled down his tweet calling for impeachment. Do you think that this could possibly? I mean, obviously, this is not just something for the cameras. At first, I thought it was something for the cameras too. I was like, "Yo, they pulling everybody's," but that call for impeachment was real. The Epstein file joint. Did you see the Epstein file? Yo, I don't know if y'all are paying attention. Did y'all see what he said about the Epstein files? Oh, it got
Now you want to talk
serious.
about the Epstein's files, but guess what? That tomorrow, this won't be any mention of Epstein's files. It affects too many people, and they're going to keep that quiet. I noticed in the previous episode, you said somebody was doing cocaine in the White House. Well, guess who that might have been? Hunter Biden. And nobody was talking about his laptop because it can't be verified, right? ABC News and CBS News and NBC News and CNN and MSDNC. So, hey, it's all fair game. To the victor blowing spoils, now that Trump's team is in office, Democrats can do all this barking and accusing and stuff like that and try to skew the narrative. But thanks to platforms like this, we're going to be able to see through that BS because now people like me have a voice to inform, not to persuade or sensationalize, but just to inform. Hey, Kamala Harris was never called the border czar. What are you talking about? But my eyes tell me I saw that. Shout out to Karine Jean-Pierre, former White House press secretary, and her new book telling what really happened and how you guys were all fooled in the first place. So guess what? Everybody's gonna come out and tell a book of how Biden was really decrepit the whole time, and you guys maybe have been right. But the Republicans were right 2 years previously about, hey, they're gonna replace this guy. He's not able to be the leader of the free world. And who was running the country? Dr. Joe Biden's chief of staff the whole time. Surprise, surprise. The five handlers and beyond around Biden were controlling the country and they were unelected. Is that really democracy? Back to you.
No, that is not. But then again, we don't live in a democracy, and the people that are elected, general for the last 20 years, only half of them were voted in democratically. The rest were seated via the power of republic, whereas the popular vote didn't matter. If you voted and I voted and that's 50-50, then it goes up in there. If a third person votes, then the majority should rule. But sometimes it doesn't happen because this is a republic. Sometimes it's like, well, the elected official said, nah, we're not going for that. We don't trust him. So obviously the republic thought that Biden was okay too.
No, the Republicans didn't have the numbers to
I
really
didn't say
take action.
Republicans.
Huh?
So apparently, the people that make the decisions, which is not the people, also thought that it was okay. What do they call them? The people, I forget what it's called now. Oh, yes, the Electoral College. But that's a sidebar. So let's read some of this. I didn't even get into it. We just jumped right into this Trump thing because that is absolutely astounding. Do you think the fighting is going to keep up? You don't even believe the fighting is real.
Well, the fire will keep up as long as the media needs to stoke the fire. and make sure people pay attention to that, than actually the riots, or I mean peaceful protests in California, and how the National Guard is being sent out, but it's actually Trump that's the bad guy, as opposed to illegal aliens they're trying to harbor and all the criminals. So yes, as long as the social media people talk about the bromance being an end, then yes, we can't pay attention to what's going on over there in Israel or Ukraine or Africa or South America. So as usual, look over there, not over there.
That's a possibility. Or it could be a little bit of let's pay attention to what they're fighting about. What are they fighting about? This bill that's in the Senate. What's in this bill that's in the Senate? 15 million Americans losing health and benefits, 8 million people losing food stamps. Maybe that's bad. That's what Elon Musk said. That's what started all of this. The same thing I've been talking about for the last, since this bill was introduced, this big bad bill. And since that's what Elon Musk is talking about, maybe being that's what affects us at home, not what's going on in Ukraine, unless Russia takes all of Ukraine and moves on to Poland, not what's going on in Gaza, except for the fact that this country continues to support Israel and the fact that Israel is starving children by not allowing Gaza to receive aid that I report on every time we have an episode, especially every live. And thank you for getting me to mention it again, because that's an atrocity that this country commits, regardless of who's in control. Israel supported and they commit atrocities. These are war crimes. The man that's in charge of that country, not Netanyahu, should be in jail. They've already called for him to be arrested, just like the other buddy, pal, friend of our current commander in chief, Putin. But I digress.
Finance
Because right now,
Putin, we finance Ukraine. And if you want to point the finger at somebody for that, blame the handlers of Joe Biden. Not Joe Biden, because he's not cognitively able to do that situation. Thanks to the Her report, we were quick to forget the Her report that actually exposed that, hey, Biden was no there the whole time. Of course, Karine Jean-Pierre, press secretary at the time, said, no, those are cheap fakes. I can't even keep up with the president. Oh, fast forward, read my book. That's not really what happened. But if you buy my book, you find out what it is.
I want to read the book.
We're going to talk about that now.
He might got a sale coming this way. I want to know. I want to know. I'm sorry. I want to know. I do want to know. Like, we lived through it. And, we saw the glitches, the robot glitches. But they were glitches. I mean, he did just sit there. It was scary. Ain't nothing funny about it.
That's
I
right.
mean, stage 4 terminal cancer is real.
That's right. And then again, during the debate, where the knockout punch, in my opinion, was Trump knocking out Biden with the, okay, I don't know what he just said. And I don't think he does either. Listen, the fact remains like this. I was like, yeah, get him, Trump. That was
That
a
was
knockout
pretty. That
punch.
was pretty.
Judge Biden's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And Trump was like, okay, I don't know what he just said. I don't think he does either. That was like, whoosh, knockout punch in that debate. And that's why the man won, out of many reasons. But back to Elon
No,
Trump.
that was the killer. That was the killer.
Elon did
That was
say,
definitely.
Elon did say without X, Trump would have got elected. Now, me, even on my circles, there's a lot of back and forth, but I say yes. X is one of the reasons that Trump did get elected, amongst other things, like teaming up with Kennedy and some other things. And the pressure on that platform for just letting information fly and dialogue to happen. So X was the catalyst, but then it was all organic when Elon told people to go F themselves because they're trying to regulate X, like Facebook and Instagram and the rest of the platforms, even YouTube. But yes, so these things are coming to the surface. But Epstein files, that's going to get pushed under the rug early.
I happen to agree. Trump's not the only name on that list. But everybody knew Trump was on the list anyway. They just forgot. I mean, he's been on that plane how many times that we know about? I mean, it's kind of silly. So to read off on this a little bit, Musk said Trump lied and no one read the bill.
It's possible.
883 pages? I could see that. They
But
probably
if you
skimmed it.
remember a few months ago, Musk came in with a chainsaw and chopped one of those bills down to 100 and so pages. Remember that? And he put everybody on blast on X. So Musk does has a little political clout on his social media platform. So we'll see.
It wasn't the big bad bill. They didn't care about this. The big bad bill's the one that they're targeting. It got so bad that in their back and forth, we discovered just how much power Elon has. When Trump threatened to deport, when Trump said he was considering deporting Elon and taking away his government contracts, considering that government contracts is basically where he built his wealth. He doesn't want us to get government money, but he got to be the richest man in the world with government money. I digress. And Trump threatened to take that away from him. His response was, I will decommission the space dragon. What, pray tell, is the space dragon? Well, apparently, somehow, NASA doesn't have the power it used to get to space and travel back and forth between space stations from the ground. And because even though NASA built the space station, so somehow they got up there, now they rely on Elon to go back and forth. Wonder how that happened and when it happened. I could do the research, but I bet you 9 out of 10 y'all are guessing correct. Do you think that Elon had too much power, and do you think that Trump will be able to pull that power away from him without actually hurting the United States at this point?
Uh, it could go either way, and that's why these things either it's real, not otherwise. And with Elon and Doge getting government access, this is what everybody's warning about on the blue team. They had a valid point. I'll give them that. Now, going back and forth with Elon and Trump, so far, the argument is who has more power and leverage. So far, the president does with all information and resources. Elon, unfortunately, is at a disadvantage, but he's still a major influencer in respective areas, even with his technology. Now, whether we want to go back to space is one thing, but the president in his previous administration started something called Space Force, which has a Star Trek symbolism, if you think about it. And yeah, so Elon's a part of one big puzzle that he thinks is a big fish, but in actuality, not so much.
Well, it does appear it does appear that Elon has a little bit more power than just not so much. I mean, check it, right? The fact that he even threatened to cut off the bus, the train, the Sky Dragon, the bus, the space bus that goes between here and anywhere in space. The fact that he has the power to cut that off gives him more power than NASA.
Well, that's what you are led to believe. Because remember, there's more Elon Musks out there where he came from, if you think about in this tech industry. So just like Apple and remember IBM and Microsoft, there's always another competitor around every corner that's willing to take his place. Isn't that interesting? Just
Oh,
looking
absolutely. Absolutely.
at capitalism.
But
That's
unfortunately, uncoupling him from you've done some government work, you understand contracts. Uncoupling him with the contracts and finding somebody to replace him and then getting them to the point where they've built up the way they've taken the last, I don't know, decade or two to build up Musk is not something that's going to happen overnight. There's not anybody ready to take his place. The government made sure of that. So, and then when people came along to try and regulate him and audit him and outright call him out on the fact that he was doing illegal things, once he paid for the presidency, he got in with the Department of Government Efficiency and took out all of the people that was investigating him.
that's a possibility.
So then it situated him in a position where he was able to dig in even deeper, and now it's going to be far more difficult to get out. Trump can pull the trigger and say he want him gone, but he situated himself in a way where that's not something he can snap his fingers and do. Do you think that Congress wants to see him gone? I mean, there was some congressmen that voted against this bill until Trump got to them, right? It was at least four in the House of Representatives, five in the House of Representatives. The bill only passed by one vote when four of them refused to vote, and the one switched his vote. And it passed by one vote out of five that went against it because of Trump going to have a conversation with them. Do you think that part of that conversation was the threat to primary with the funds that are supplied by Elon?
Anything's possible with these phone calls and lobbying in different direction, give or take. But keep in mind that this is what politics is supposed to be. And on the same token, remember the Democrats actually, since this bromance is breaking up, they're cheering and egging Elon on like before. Because remember, before Elon Musk said, "Go f yourself," I'm not gonna. I'm gonna make sure when I buy Twitter, make it X, and people do ever say what they ever want to say within reason. The Democrats love Elon Musk, like Donald Trump before he became president. But now that there's a rift, now they're cheering Elon on. Come on, Elon got to take down Trump now. We got a new hero, take down the evil orange man. He's turned to our side now. What's going to happen to all this noise? That's my question. And Elon and Trump both understand that these Democrats, even if Trump does go down, they're a bigger threat.
I don't know if they could possibly, if anybody's a bigger threat than that big bad bill. But
California, those citizens are going to burn it down. But the media's not going to talk about that, are they?
that's the fourth time you brought it up with the fifth, and I don't know what's going on. So
Exactly, because the media's not
hold
putting it
on,
out there.
wait. What I was going to ask you to do is to elaborate,
Well, because
please.
ICE is picking up all these criminal illegal aliens. Now, the Mexican contingent out there and the brown people, not the black people, and all the white liberal progressives egging them on are doing all these mass protests. They're saying this is George Floyd 2.0 over there, as much as they're doing damage, breaking property. And the president has also um, what you call it, engage the National Guard out there. But according to internet, everything's okay. And there's just some peaceful protest that the National Guard and the evil Donald Trump are trying to knock down and destroy. Gavin Newsom's another one who's mouthing off. Because remember, the president said, hey, if you have these DEI stuff, I'm cutting off your funding. Well, California's like, well, we pay the most out of any other state in taxes to the federal government. We're going to cut off our funding to the federal government, which, if you know your constitution, is literally impossible. And that's what's going on in California. And I dare you and your viewers to find any information about what's going on in California other than Donald Trump is being bad and he's going against Elon Musk.
Wow. Well, I would like. I don't even know what to say to that because we don't know. I don't know anything about it, so I can't comment.
Well, you should comment and say, hey, my journalism craft has disappointed me, let me down, has failed me. And it's actually
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Exactly the opposite. It's why we neo journalists are so important because the mainstream media is not reporting it and they're coming here and getting it. So this is exactly why we're here. Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely not. Thank you. So now we know. Exactly the opposite. My bad, bro. All right. So, in light of our last conversation where we were talking about the fact that the a lot of the Trump people, this organization is what is it called? His cabinet, or the word is eluding me. It's fine. They said that they were actually having a little bit of issue. They might be held in contempt, and we were speaking about that being the case based on Gregor Garcia. Suddenly, Gregor Garcia is back in the country.
Isn't that great? Everybody should be happy now, right?
I am.
But as soon as he steps up the flame, they put the mittens on him, right? And so now the ICE agents and law enforcement are bad people again, right?
No, now he gets a trial. That's what he's supposed to get the first time. Instead of, oops, we took him, but he was a bad guy. He gets the trial. Let's see what really happens.
People have to understand, being an illegal alien, you cannot be afforded the same rights as an American citizen. Otherwise,
He
and
wasn't
legal
an, he
protections,
wasn't an
and
illegal.
legal protections, huh?
He wasn't illegal. Matter of
Well,
fact, when did
guess
he get asylum? Who was president when he got asylum? I forget.
but guess about all the illegal activities he's done, like beat his wife, according allegedly, smuggling people across the border and
Okay,
not
so
doing it.
he's here legally. So the alleged is irrelevant. He needs a trial, so it's not alleged before you deport him.
Well, guess what? Long story short, he's in the can. Let's move on. Because guess what? More people are getting deported, and now you got sanctuary cities, having all these peaceful protests that's going to destroy a lot of property and destroy a lot of businesses. So hopefully he was worth it.
Well, it's obviously if he's back, it's not about him.
Don't worry, the media put this under the rug until they find something else to agitate the American people. Like Fannie Willis, remember her? And Alvin Bragg, remember him? And Tish James. They're not in the spotlight anymore. What's going on? Why can't we talk about those guys anymore? I don't know.
Let's talk about these ICE agents and this big, beautiful bill, where in this big, bad bill, where they need to take away all this fraud, waste, and abuse
Spending.
and save all this money for the top 10%, the top 1%, right? That's what the bill says. We went through it line by line.
Keep going.
One item that's in the bill is every single ICE agent will get a $42,000 bonus. Every single ICE agent. Does the MAGA constituent and its representatives believe that to be a good practice?
Well, again, that's going to be more spending, but a lot of people support law enforcement on this side, like it or not. Me, there's always cash incentives. Oh, excuse me, for a job well done. But on the same token, some could argue, well, giving these people debit cards and five-star hotel rooms, that was a waste as well. So on either side, you can be grudged on how money's being spent to support who, what, and why.
I go for that. I would definitely say that that was an egregious way to spend money. And this is worse because it's a whole heck of a lot more. 42,000 per ICE agent.
Well, you see, this is when I make New York City politics locally and say, hey, well, our public mass transit, Metropolitan Transit Authority is paying what? $100 an hour for security guards in the subways to make sure people don't jump the turnstiles. Oh, on top of that, they're paying retired law enforcement to make sure you don't hop the bus now, especially the select bus services. So if it is waste and accusation of putting money into hands that don't need it, it's that rate locally. So on a federal level, that's a lot of waste right there.
Wait, you said $100 an hour?
Yes. Allied Universal has been reported to have overtime hours and getting paid $100 an hour to stand there by a subway door to make sure people don't jump the turnstile coming through the door. Even most of the time, they let them anyway because they can't do anything about it. In the Bronx,
I was about to make mention that, yeah, because I'm like, wait a minute, what? Because so let's suppose they see somebody. What are they supposed to do as a security officer?
they keep the door locked.
Observe and report. They are not allowed. They're not cops. They can't arrest.
The point is this: the MTA cries broke. We need more money. Congestion pricing by tolling people coming to the city on their car is going to fix all our lives' budget and problems. But again, the MTA board is going to meet to increase the fare from 2.90 a swipe one way to $3. But they're not going to tell you that. They want you to think that Donald Trump defunding everything with DEI is the source of your life's problems. When right under your nose, you have Al Universal with their book bags on their phones like this by the turnstile making more money than you. So they want you
They
to
ain't
be
making no
grateful.
$100 an hour. I promise you that.
Oh, well, good old AI. It always be lying. Let's go see.
It does. I'm surprised you realized that. Like, took long enough. Everybody knows that you can't trust AI. I mean, sometimes you get answers. Sometimes it'll tell you the best way to cure farts is to eat cancer. Like, like
Here we are. Good old New York Post. Of course, it's racist. All right. Private MTA subway guards are holding doors open for fare beaters sleeping on the job. Let's see here. Where is it? Control F, dollar sign 100. All right, here we go. The armed guards make up to $100 an hour. The unarmed guards are paid up to $25 each shift. They allow 30-minute breaks. So yes, we do have a private security company getting paid $100 an hour. So there you go, Leo. The
you
armed
gonna
guards.
share that?
Oh wow, my friend. I guess I will. That New York Post boy be lying. Here we go. Now they're saying the total of people that hop the turnstile are costing us $800 million in annual revenue, but the armed guards make $100 an hour. The unarmed guards, Allied Universal, makes $25 an hour. Now let's go up to the multi-million dollar contract, Allied Universal. And then, hey, if you're from New York, you recognize these guys. They don't care. Some people take their job seriously, some don't. Allied Universal. I used to work for them too when it used to be called FJC as an inspector. Ah, look at this. Come on in. Come on in, guys. There's nothing you can do about private MTA subway guards are holding doors open for fare beaters and sleeping on the job. Your tax dollars hard at work. But we want to convince you that it's Donald Trump's fault and he has to go. Whereas
So
our
why
New York
don't they
City
just have
mayor,
their
our New York
own?
governor, our New York City politicians, they got the wool pulled over your eyes and they're just pocketing all this money and public housing, public transportation, and public schools crumble around you. Where's that Donald Trump? Suck there, Leo?
Why not just see? That's mismanagement. For $100
Like
an
Donald Trump.
hour, they could just hire their own police force inside the subway. They'd be federal. They'd be city
You mean
employees.
increase the budget for defund the police? That doesn't sound right. And plus, MTA is not going to audit itself. Are you crazy? That's like the Department of Education auditing itself. A lot of people have to get fired, Leo. Union protection, all that good stuff, making six figures, doing nothing. That is Donald Trump.
Okay, two things can be true is something that's said quite often now. And for an example of how two things can be true, Donald Trump can be screwing things up while MTA is as well. One does not negate the other. So thank you for once again providing civil
But the
education, but it
truth
doesn't take.
is, no matter who's in the White House, New York, MTA, NYCHA, and public school have always been going downhill. This has lasted longer and before and probably after Donald Trump. So you should play to your local politics, like the primary coming up right now in June, New York City. Pay attention to that. And then in New York, then November for the mayor's race as well. Because as long as they keep making you look over there at the president and what's not going right under your nose, these blue team elected officials will keep doing what they want to do with pocketing your money, and the whole world around you gets burning down. But they're going to convince you, hey, look at that. It's Donald Trump's fault.
All of that is true. You
Yes.
should definitely be paying attention to your local politics. You should definitely be paying attention to what is going on with these things that he's saying. You definitely should vote because that is going to affect your pockets in immediate ways. But it does not take away from the fact that you should be paying attention to this big bad bill that'll devastate your communities.
That's what they always say. In the meantime, locally, those things affect you quicker, much earlier, and effectively than this. Believe me.
That might be true.
Donald Trump, be careful, he's going to eat your kids.
I don't know if he's going to eat your kids, but he's going to make sure your kids can't eat.
He also might be hiding under your bed, too. All these scare tactics don't work on these people anymore, Leo. Nice try.
Well, now that Elon is, because again, now this is some place where both things can't be true. All right, back to the Elon situation, right? Even you said it. Maybe he should not have been able to go in and look at everybody's information, and he's not either. He's because I want to know what you think. So, was he telling the truth when he said that he was going to be honest and we didn't have to worry about him stealing and finagling and getting our information and he was safe? Or is he lying about Donald Trump? Is he a liar or is he somebody we should trust? Both things can't be true.
Yes, he is. He could be a liar, and he could also be. What's the second thing? What's the second thing? You say he was a liar. What's the second part of the question?
Or he can be trusted.
Or he can be trusted? This is when you have to be an informed voter and know what's going on and how things work. Number one, yes, with Doge, he did have access to all those things, right? To a certain extent. What he can do for them, I don't know. But on the same token, in his personal private life, his stocks, Tesla, SpaceX, all those things have been going downhill. So he's getting hit a lot of different which ways. So his head is all over the place. So that's when Trump said he's depressed. Maybe so. Because this investment in Trump in the political realm is actually costly more than actually the ROI I'm sure he was thinking that he was going to get. So this big blow up is something else. And just like Trump, don't trust anybody 100% because anything you trust more 100%, you put it before God, and that always ends up bad.
That was left field. All right, let me see. What's next? 75-minute talk. Trump said talks are good with Russia. Oh, yes, he had a 75-minute talk with Russia where he said things went well, even though he said there will be no peace agreement right now. He did say that Putin would help stop Iran from getting nuclear, from becoming nuclear, but they'll still attack Ukraine. What is your take on that?
Well, international, I'm not good like economics, but I will say this. The fact that if Trump speaks, Putin speaks, Zelensky speaks, and nobody's dying or shooting weapons, the better. Otherwise, they're going to be at each other's throats, and Trump is going to have to say, hey, make public statements. In the meantime, anything that de-escalates the war, the better. Zelensky's money and weaponry is going to run out sooner than later, and America is not going to supply or re-up for this guy.
Okay, I'm gonna say this again. Trump said the talks went well. There is no de-escalation. They
Well,
went well, but there's no de-escalation. That's what he said.
he says a lot of things, but on paper, America is not backing Ukraine, which is great. They're on their own.
But the war has escalated
Got nothing to do with
tremendously.
us. Got nothing to do with us.
So, what about the fact that Putin is going to help with the talks with Iran to keep them from becoming nuclear, even though Iran is in support of Russia in Ukraine? So, huh? These are the
So
talks that went
again,
well. He's going to leverage.
That's the UN, the EU, and the Middle East problem. America first says, let them have each other. They deserve each other. You can't blame Donald Trump for that. What can he do? Where those people should be doing their job. Just like the MCA. New York City needs to be doing their job. California, you need to be doing your job instead of blaming Donald Trump. He's just one man.
So, the fact that he needs Putin to be able to talk to Iran means that he can't do it himself. That means he's impotent.
Well, it means that the more you keep rooting against the president of the United States, a portion of that actually hurts the country itself. Doesn't that make sense?
Or I would rather root for somebody who said they're going to come in and stop wars and actually stop wars, or say he's going to come in and bring prices down, or says he's going to be able to stop Iran from becoming a nuclear power and doesn't have to run to Russia to help because he can't do it.
If he did any of those things, the mainstream media and all the Trump deranged people in this country still would have to something to gripe about.
If
And
he brought
remember,
prices down and didn't do things to hurt American people, I would be happy, especially after the Biden situation.
so why don't you talk about that? What has he actually done that's made you happy, Leo?
I can't get past the big bad bill right now. Right now, that's the
Boys
that
and
piece of
girls
legislation
sports.
is
Boys and girls
mind-boggling.
sports. Boys and girls sports. You see what Simone Biles just did? Sticking up for boy and girls
That is
sports.
disgusting. Yes,
So
disgusting,
again, why don't you
disgusting.
give President Trump his props because the American people say, hey, we don't want that. Let's talk
I
about
don't
that.
want that. And word, you said they die on the hill, and I'm like, yo, I walked past the hill and I
Democrats
saw
will
people getting
die on
shot,
this
and I was
issue.
like, yo, what's going on over there?
The next thing is this Pride Month has been defunded. A lot of companies and sponsors this June now, Pride Month, our birthday, so we should be loud and proud to be Geminis. A lot of that funding is going down the hill. Aren't you happy about that, Leo?
As long as it's not my money, I don't care what they do.
Again, President Trump does it again. He's pulled all LGBTQ plus funding for any kind of scientific research in that lane and vein on the DEI. Isn't that good, Leo?
What kind of research? Don't tell me he made mouses gay. That's
Lesbian
stupid.
seals, whatever the case may be. And that's the danger of DEI funding because that agenda, like a lot of other agendas, piggyback and then slip in under those things, thinking like, oh wow, they're coming for your Black history. Meanwhile, if you go to
They
Drag
did come
Queen
for the Black
NYC,
history.
and then you go to Drag Queen Story NYC, and you'll see, hey, This funding actually went to paying drag queens to come read books to little kids
It
because
sounds like they said, look over here at the drag queens and don't notice that Frederick Douglass has pulled off the board of the GOV website the day after the DEI got,
what
you know,
people can see is that there are boys and girls sports, and they can see drag queens reading to little kids, and
and you
also
can see
gender
that
friendly
Frederick
kids.
Douglass was pulled off the GOV website. If you're a college student, and the college students that I talk to, you can see that the grant opportunities are no longer there.
That
You
doesn't
can see that.
affect American people overall, like drag queens reading to children and boys and girls sports. That doesn't affect the American public overall. We're only 14% of the population, Leo, and even still, we don't want boys and girls sports and drag queens reading to our children. And
But we
that's
want our kids to have the opportunity to go to college, which this bill takes away from. Like, well,
we
we don't
learned
feel
under
that
Joe
you as a
Biden,
person.
and we learned under Joe Biden that student loan debt is a result of the higher education industry complex with degrees going to gender studies, critical race theory. But once you graduate, you can't find a job or business to pay back the loans. So this is a smart move.
See, now I understand that talking point, but it's a lie.
Tell us why, friend.
Well, let's take education for instance. As long as you have a degree, I don't care what it's in. You can work in education. So you can use that degree to work and get a good job. It's a lie. Period. It's a teacher shortage. Anybody with a degree can get a job. So that's that.
The
That's
quality
the
of
truth.
education is downhill. And I know personally
You can get a job
teachers
with a
that were
degree. That's what we were
fired for not
discussing.
taking the vaccine. How about those teachers? The position of teachers that were fired for not taking the Dr. Fauci ouchie. Anytime you come away with education and people need teachers, well, rehire the ones with retro everything that you fired because they approved with principles that the COVID vaccine actually made teachers worse, sick, die, and resign. That's the data that's coming out on this side. But of course, the Maha folks can't put that out there because New York Times won't put it. Wait a minute, New York Times did put it out. If you look for New York Times and vaccine injury, it's actually reported one article saying yes, people did have adverse side effects and nobody's listening to them. That New York Times be lying.
I mean, to think otherwise would be complete insanity. There's never been in history a time where somebody came up with something that didn't have adverse effects. The amount, I don't know. But to say that they didn't, if somebody believed that, they're not informed.
Or they were coerced because they would lose their job and all their lifestyle. They were scared silly and they had to take it anyway because they were just so scared silly from the information that was presented to them. And they didn't have time for their critical thinking with the mass hysteria of a pandemic, whereas heart disease is still the number one epidemic in America. Not the common cold, not COVID. Cancer is still above COVID. But yes, those are the ailments we have here. Thank God for Secretary Kennedy, and we're gonna make America healthy again by getting rid of some of those things from the food. Also, making sure vaccines are optional, not mandatory, and provide more healthy information about alternative options.
That man is going to cause more deaths than that bill will.
So they say. But then again, you
No,
heard
so
the
science
degree.
says.
Yeah, so science says that we should have red dye number 9 in all our Fruit Loop
No, I
cereal.
agree with some
Not
of the
just,
stuff. Red dye should not
oh,
be.
well
Oh
now,
no,
look
no,
at
no, no,
this.
no. There's
No,
some
no,
things
no,
he did that's
no.
absolutely the dyes are
So
horrific.
maybe he's on
They're
the
they're
right
like
track of
something out of a
something.
Stephen King novel.
Long time saw is that he says question everything. And that's what's big on the side. Question everything. Don't just say
Everything but
what you
Trump.
basically found. Huh?
Everything but Trump.
Yeah, people over here question Trump too. Like what's going on with Elon, what happened with Cash Patel and Dan Bongino with the Epstein files, what's going on with Kennedy being allegedly investing in stocks into pharmaceutical. So over here they do question everything. Whereas the Democrats, all they can just say is racism and Donald Trump is bad. What information?
I didn't say anything about race. I said I am quoting the bills. I'm quoting the the executive orders and the results of each. And what I see with the DEI is the things that hurt black people. You're like, oh well, lesbian is gay that. I don't watch that. That's not my community. Black people's my community. So I see the damage done to my community. But you don't want me to look at that. You want me to look at drag queen hour. Like that doesn't concern me. I don't care about drag queen hour. I care about the damage done to my
Had to
community.
come to Harlem, and Harlem didn't have it. So yes, I'm talking about the funding that goes into Drag Queen Hour, as opposed to special education, as opposed to English as a second language. ESL English language learners get a bulk of the budget for education, but the black
That's
people
true.
push in special education, and that funding is always going down. That's strange. Black Americans are Americans, but children that are from illegals, they get all the money and resources for English as a second language. That's funny.
That's true. As
So
a teacher who
your
was working,
education.
what? Yo, that's true. Like, yo, I'm gonna give you one example that blew my mind. Listen, when you write, you write. I was a teacher, right? And I was
Trigger.
working. Not yo, when you write, you write. And I was doing a summer school program, right? And I had second grade. So the we got these boxes with all of the materials for teaching or whatever. Yo, there was an oversupply for ESL. If you had second language, there was so much stuff they just didn't have enough. They didn't have there was so many that they just had an oversupply. For the kids that were American English kids in this black school, the the amount of materials that were available were so few. They gave me a first grade box or boxes. They gave me first grade supplies like I had a first grade class. I was teaching them stuff that was under their grade level because there was not enough supplies for the black kids. That happened. So, yes, I agree. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take over, but
Yes,
yo,
yes,
like I
yes.
said, I call it down the middle. And when you say something like that, I experienced it. I can't, yo, that happened. I was
And
sick
I
to my
say it all the
stomach.
time. And a different, and then another thing I'll add to the Secretary of Cities when it comes to supporting illegals. Did you know that your black self will be told you could just learn Spanish? You learned it in school, but the budget expands beyond children when it comes to English language support. Remember, adults get all the same funding, more so to make sure they can speak English as well. So let's take a person that just fell out the sky. How many English ESL free classes are there in supports? Think about it to speak English. Whereas if I say I want a Spanish as a second language course for free to help me get on the same level as everybody else when it comes to being bilingual, there's no such thing. I'll be guilty and ashamed about the building. But remember, English language learning funding goes everywhere from baby to all the way up to adult for free. And you don't have to be a citizen.
Well, let's get back to this, right?
Ooh, we won't talk about that, huh? Okay.
No, I mean, no, it's listen. Trump is saying that he wants to make English the official language of the country. So if you want to dig into it, we go there. We go to the fact that. So, do you believe that English should be the official language of America?
Yes. Next question.
I disagree. Would you like to hear why?
Sure.
I don't speak English. I speak American. Make it Americanese, and I'm with it. Because if you start talking about having man, I can't speak English. I mean, they're similar to American, but it's not American. You don't believe me? Go to England.
Or Australia.
Facts. So, no, because we don't really speak, well, I guess what you would call the Queen's English. We speak American. And then we have so many different dialects that people might call, slang or, you go to,
Ebonics, remember about Ebonics? The most about Ebonics anymore, huh? That's a
thank
shame
God.
because we all know that was a dumbing down for Black America, just like DEI. We could actually be more successful without those safety nets and enabling certain Black people, elites, to get those jobs instead of us as a whole being suffering, in my opinion. Ebonics
DI offers a copious amount of opportunities
and funding
outside of,
wasted.
again, just the grants in college alone is worth the weight in gold. I mean, and when you talk about this big bad bill, taking away Pell Grants is horrendous. Just take everything else out of the bill. Don't talk about anything else. Taking away Pell Grants is crazy. Can you agree on that?
As a recipient of the Pell Grant, I'm
That's why I
disappointed.
said it.
But again, as someone that has a master's degree and owes over $90,000, thanks to Joe Biden's, student loan forgiveness, backfiring, at the end of the day, you
It
look at
didn't
how
backfire. Trump took it away.
okay.
Trump took it away.
Wait, wait. Well, according to the people in the war over here, it was unconstitutional in the first place. That's what I think happened. But anyway, long story short,
Trump could have made it work instead of taking it away.
if it's unconstitutional, Leo, okay,
Well,
you
Trump had
just
control
have
over
just
Congress. It could have been put in the bill instead of giving all the money to the rich. Help the people that went to school to try and get regular jobs,
because
regular people,
nobody
instead of
said
helping the rich. Oh, nah, y'all got to pay this money. Where's that money going to go if all the rich got tax breaks? Where's your student loan money going to go?
guess what? Though you keep forgetting to put on repeat with that the no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, and no tax on Social Security. Why can't you put that in that nice bundle of, you know, giving money to the rich? Because that affects more
I don't
people.
think you heard the. I mentioned that in the rant before. I mentioned that last episode. I'll mention it. I did. I mentioned it. I will repeat. It bears worth repeating. That will end. The no tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security ends next voting cycle. The tax break for the rich extends forever. That's the
Like the
difference.
Voting Rights Act. The Voting Rights Act is forever, right? We can vote forever. That's a
Or
lie.
your voting rights can be taken away forever, like they tried in North Carolina.
Here we go again. They come for your votes. Here we
They
go,
did. It
y'all.
got it. Thankfully, because what happened in North Carolina was they fought it, and the Republicans was pushing it through. It got to a Trump-appointed judge, and the Trump-appointed judge was disgusted at how terrible it was. Via, oh, hold on, my turn to pull up, right?
Sure, why not?
Because I don't remember the name of it. Give me 1 second. This should be very simple to pull up, very fast, and I just cleared a whole bunch of stuff off my computer, so it was running pretty quickly. Didn't realize that that stuff was still there. It wasn't supposed to be.
Mhm. Yes, we've hit our point.
A Trump appointed judge in North Carolina recently made a significant ruling related to voter rights in the state, specifically concerning the 2024 election and a dispute over the certification of Justice Allison Riggs, who I've been reporting on for about 3 months. Judge E. Myers, the judge appointed by Donald Trump in 2019, issued a ruling ordering the North Carolina State Board of Elections to certify Justice Riggs' victory in a disputed North Carolina Supreme Court ruling. Reject the ruling's impact. We will skip that. Let's get to the rejection of the vote discard. Judge explicitly rejected attempts to discard ballots that had already been legally cast, affirming that the election rules cannot be changed after the fact. He emphasized that the election standards are established before the election, not after it's concluded. So what that means in English is, to make it simple, they tried to change the rules afterwards, and the judge was like, "What are y'all doing?" That's what the Republicans did. They tried to change the rules afterwards to discount black votes. And the judge was like, no, no, no.
What's a black vote, Leo?
Votes that black people casted. But it wasn't just black
Like,
people,
no.
because this judge's own parents had voted, and they tried to get her parents off the ballot. They'd been living there voting for 40 years, came to the place, showed the driver's license. Oh, and by the way, they were white. So it wasn't just black people. They just tried to cheat.
And how does this have anything to do with Trump other than a judge that he appointed? How is this his fault?
It wasn't, this was not Trump's fault. I didn't say it
Thank you.
was. But it is the Republican Party trying to cheat.
Thank
And
you. And just
even
like
a
a big
MAGA
beautiful
judge.
bill, there's this between Trump and the Republican Party. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. 100%. This is one of the places that Trump tried to say cheated, though. It's North Carolina. Anyway, I digress.
Yes.
Point made. Moving forward. I want to get back to where I was at
Yes.
on this.
We've reached our hour mark, Leo. We have to let these people wait one more.
All right, so we need to
One more.
call us soon.
Yes. It's your birthday after all, my friend. I want you to enjoy it.
All right, I can go a few more minutes. We got a few more things. Let's try and finish this. We got a couple more things.
No.
Um, nah, we have a couple more things. Nippon Steel acquired American Steel. Nippon Steel acquired American Steel. We talked about that. American Steel was bought by a Chinese company. So even though we want to make America great again with American Steel, it's a Japanese company. Nippon is Japanese. The language, I just know the language. So Japanese companies buying American Steel. So even though we're going to make America great again by with good old American Steel, it's going to be by a Japanese company. That's it. China reduced rare earth minerals being sold to America. So in part of the battle going on between Trump and China, they was like, all right, word, y'all want to move that way? They reduced our rare earth minerals. Rare earth minerals are used to create things like weapons, cell phones, electronics, name it, electronics.
Even more reason not to do business with China and depend on them. So this is a great thing. They expose themselves again for being the real enemy, not Russia.
Well, it was in response to Trump breaking the agreement they had.
But that's good though, because now we should support the president and not root for China. China.
Well, the 70% decrease in deports from China to America are going to affect Americans by hitting our wallet again. If
When?
there's just I know you had a thing with economics, right?
When is this
We,
going to happen
we got
again?
about four things to talk about. This is an important one. We got a couple of important things left. We're going to get through it. I'm gonna make it quick. We have supply and demand, right? So if the supply goes down because we're not getting the rare earth minerals, demand goes up. What happens when you have reduced supply and increased demand? Do you remember that?
Opportunity? I think that's the word they use in economics. Opportunity.
Well, you don't have an opportunity if America doesn't have these rare earth materials. If we don't have it and can't produce it because it comes from the ground, and America simply doesn't have it, the export here is reduced. What happens? The prices go up. When you have a low supply and high demand, prices increase.
Okay.
So prices are going to go up. Biden's investigation
Still
into the auto
waiting.
pen.
Still
We got a
waiting.
couple of things. One of them. Biden's investigation for the auto pen. What time is it? Let me see why you complain about the time. Let me see where we at.
Well, I
We got
will
a
say
few.
this. We all said earlier that the people on this side have been saying, who's been running this country? Who's running this country for the past 2 years or so? The media said, don't believe your eyes. Everything's very rotten. This is the best he's been. If you don't believe it, F you. Zoom in on this. And so, yes, now that there's going to be investigations, of course, Trump is a bully, a racist, a hater, wants revenge. But no, this is justice. People need to go to jail for this cover up
Okay.
and enabling this to the President of the United States and limiting presidential control amongst a handful of people and handlers. People can argue it's elder abuse, but this is actually exploiting the commander in chief and all the powers therein.
Everything you said. Okay, moving on. What? You ain't said nothing wrong. I agree with everything you said. This is insane. All right.
Yeah,
So why did Trump revive the travel ban on 12 countries?
the African countries, right?
I didn't even look to see which countries there are, probably.
Yes, my girl in Ghana said, "Oh, Trump does it again. Oh no, he can't go to Sierra Leone." I was like, "Well, again, they're not playing when it comes to international issues." And yeah, we all know what happened to the guy Torre in Africa. That general was going crazy over there. So
So why did he do it?
Trump,
Yes, why is he targeting African countries?
well, he's talking to everybody because he's saying that certain popular migrants are coming from these respective countries, as I recall, in Haiti.
Okay, so it's just black people. Got it. Because only black people are. That's what you just said.
Did I?
Well, what are you saying? You're saying that it was African countries in Haiti, so black people. But even though people are coming from other countries and doing China's importing drugs and there's no ban on Chinese, only black people.
Not the president's fault. That's the previous administration when we said that it was happening, but they didn't believe us. That was racist, by the way.
Well, I'm just saying that the only people that appear to be targeted, according to you, I didn't even research that and find that out. According to you, is black people. According to the MAGA, I didn't even know that. Thank you for informing me. Um, We already know that Elon's pushing the bill. 11 million, I thought it was 15 million was healthcare. Sanctions about that's done. Oh, there's a threat of 500% tariffs on any country supporting China. 500% tariffs.
Here we go again with the tariff war. So
Trump is going harder than ever. That 500% is crazy. 500% is, you got to think about it. When we was at 250% or 235%, it was an insane number never heard of before. Now Trump's talking about 500, more than double. Like, and then you got to remember that's crazy.
it is what it is, but the tariff war is better than a real war. So or proxy war
Mm,
with Ukraine.
okay, but it is a war, and the United States is definitely pulling off.
Bloodbath, bloodbath. Remember that?
We
Bloodbath?
are becoming so it is in support of what you're saying. We're becoming isolationists, and I don't know if that's good for the country, but that is what's happening. I'm not going to say if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. I don't support it, but that's what's happening. German president reminds Trump that D-Day was, oh, this is horrible. That D-Day was when the U.S. saved Germany from Nazis and compares it to Putin.
Here we go again. I see the don't ever Holocaust around again. Everything's Holocaust now. So I guess like once again, Trump is anti-Semite now too.
Actually, what happened during that meeting with the president of Germany was he was trying to explain to Trump what D-Day was.
Oh,
And the president of
remember,
Germany,
remember when Trump went to Germany, said he felt it's inappropriate that we're paying the most into defense of NATO and we need our money back? That was a good clip. We should play that clip where Trump said, yes, why are we paying the most into us? Why are we still paying for this? You guys need to pay your fair share of these wars. So maybe Germany feels some sort of way.
I guess you didn't watch the interview. That's fine. So what actually happened
God
was
damn it. I knew it. My package. Oh,
you
I
gotta go.
luggage.
Where's it at? You gotta go?
No, no,
Oh,
no.
it's being delayed?
Yeah, because I was my trip was depending on this luggage,
I
and my
know.
trip was being delayed. Like I told these idiots, it was still in the queue under prepared, not going through other processes. I knew it.
So you're not gonna make it to Africa by your birthday.
We shall see if this money comes in from this being a data broker and some other things I'm working on. Poof! I'll just buy some and cancel this stupidity,
I wish you a lot of luck.
and I'll be
I mean, we
doing
only got like
just
four
fine.
things left. Let's get through this and we can talk afterwards if you want. But I hope it works out for you. Let him get to be with his girl for his birthday. Everybody put prayers up for him. Word. He needs to be with his girl for
Most
his
of my other
birthday.
birthday activities.
So what happened during the meeting was they were talking and he's trying to explain to Trump that Putin is doing the same thing that Germany was doing in World War II. And he was reminding Trump that the United States saved the world on D-Day. And Trump was like, so because Trump said, well, wasn't that a great day for you? Weren't you happy? And the president was like, we kind of like overthrew a aristocracy that was about to take over the world thanks to America. Like we were able to stop Hitler. And no, he wasn't Jewish, so it had nothing to do with the Holocaust. The Germans are happy they stopped Hitler because the vast majority. So even though the vast majority of the country were at a time supporting Trump, Hitler, woo, Freudian slip, maybe, maybe not.
Here we go.
Oh,
Everybody's Hitler. Everybody, you're Hitler. I'm a Hitler. We're all Hitlers.
well, I mean, I can't be. I don't control the country. So he was reminding Trump that the United States were the heroes that day and trying to convince him to, possibly take a similar position in the current geopolitical world that we currently reside in. Whereas the response was apparently an ignorance on what the day actually was. Like, He was having to explain it to him.
Why we have to talk about this for? Again, why are we talking about the fact that Trump told them in Germany that it's inappropriate for the United States of America to be paying the most into protection of your countries? We should be doing it yourself. I think that's more important than Germany trying to educate our president because he just educated them, don't you think? During that whole deal.
Well, I guess that's that. That's how you feel about it. So, what do you think about the Proud Boys lawsuit? For those of y'all who don't know, because I see we lost a lot of viewers, people got bored once we stopped talking about the Elon Musk thing. We lost about 200 viewers once we left the Elon Musk thing. But it's all good. Let's talk about the Proud Boys. For those of y'all who don't know, the Proud Boys led the charge into the Capitol on January 6th. President Trump pardoned them for their actions, and they were released from prison back into society as if this did not happen. They now wish to sue the United States so the taxpayers pay them for what some called was an insurrection. Do you feel that they deserve to be compensated for their time incarcerated based on their actions on January 6th?
Well, now, according to AI, Enrique Tarrio, who was a part of January, I mean, the Proud Boys,
One of the leaders.
he wasn't even there on January 6th. So why was he involved with anything? A lot of people don't know that. He wasn't even there.
No, he wasn't, but he was one of the people that incited it. He led people there. He was definitely a big part of it out of his own mouth in 3 different interviews I saw him on.
Listen, I know Proud Boys, and they're my friends here, the ones who
I
are.
know. That's why I asked you how you felt about the lawsuit.
Hey, man.
Oh, yes, inform the public. I apologize. Yes, he's not a Proud Boy. He wasn't there, but he has friends. He has stories on how many of them might have been mistreated.
Not just that. Keep in mind, some of them feel as though they were wrongfully prosecuted, whereas other people who are rioting right now in California, nothing's going to happen to them. And the next thing is, they can actually prove now that all the footage is coming out, especially with Nancy Pelosi and her daughter's documentary, that hey, this was all enabled and coaxed by our own government. So the CIA, I think it was, or the FBI, that has some of the people they were investigating in the crowds to hype them up, allegedly. So these people have a right to a fair trial and lawsuits to defend themselves. Like my friend, shout out to Danny Kreisman and some others here in New York that were down there and got arrested against their will. They said, wait a minute, Mayor Bowser, she actually didn't have the law enforcement there to protect anybody like Trump told her to. So I think it's going to be another investigation to say, hey, this is just one thing the media just harped on forever, hoping that would convince the American people not to vote for Uncle Trump, but it backfired.
And so if you feel as if the Proud Boys should be entitled to a lawsuit for what they did, please put a one in the chat. Let us know how y'all think. In the meantime, I'm going to move forward. Trump has started his own crypto wallet.
Okay.
So this might be considered further grifting, where he started his coin. He started his coin 2 days before he got in office. Now he's starting a crypto wallet. It almost makes it feel like the presidency and all of his powers are for sale. You don't feel that that's a problem for the United States?
Well, if anything, it's going to get more economic commerce on his platform from United States citizens and beyond. So he's a brand unto himself before he became the president of the United States, just like Bloomberg. Bloomberg was a brand unto himself before he was mayor of New York City. So all those fringe benefits and influencing and money making stuff off the name still applies before. Now, if he was like Barack Obama or Joe Biden and made a name for himself in Congress and did stock investments in Congress like Nancy Pelosi make money, now that's a conflict. Make sense?
So you feel that he should be able to do all of this and that it's not affecting his decision making as a president when somebody
Of
puts
course, it's
millions of
affecting.
dollars in his pocket?
Of course, it's affecting his decision making. That's why it is smart that hey, my name is Henry Ford, or my name is J.G. Rockefeller from New York. I'm gonna use my name and brand to continue making money, even though I'm the president of the United States. I've been doing it before, and that's what my name gets me. I'm my own brand. I don't see no conflict in that.
The presidency is apparently for sale,
That's
or
not
the
true.
powers.
Who's
But
buying it? The Democratic Party's for sale because they have to listen to their.
Americans are not buying it. Foreigners are buying it. Foreigners paid to sit down with the president and make requests during his dinner, and they were granting those requests, such as crypto stuff and letting people out of jail, were granted. But selling pardons was nothing new. We did that in his first presidency for $1 million a pop. That
The
is
gold card, the gold
incredible. That was new. North Carolina attempts to disregard hundreds of thousands of voters was so egregious that we did that. We covered that. All right. I made a mistake and repeated that. And last but not least, no, that was it. Imports are down by 20%, and that's across the board. So that means that the United States is starting, its prices have gone up, as we've seen. Prices have gone up, imports are coming down, but we've covered that extensively. I'm gonna let you go.
Happy birthday, Leo.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Play the Stevie Wonder.
What happened?
Play Stevie Wonder. Dun, 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 dun. Happy birthday to you. La la la, Leo. How old are you now, Leo?
50, big 50.
Serious? Wow.
Yeah.
Yikes. You don't look it. I gotta go to the gym just like you.
Thanks, bro. All right, yo, good luck on that luggage, man.
All right, later.
All right, this is LC and Dion.